Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time we're taking a look at the 1999 Nissan Skyline Unisia Jecs GTR GT R33. Full name. This is an interesting car. This is an R33 JGTC car, which we have had go round. We had the Jecs not too long ago. But this is an R33 from the 1999 JGTC season. And for whatever reason, Polyphony messed up slightly. So this car has the stats of the R34 JGCC cars. So basically this is an R34 with an R33 body, which is interesting. And it will fulfill our needs for today, because we had that STP Tizen Viper not long ago. And that car became the quickest GT500 car we've had by far. So I wanted to give the R34s, the most powerful JGCC cars, another go around the track, because we had a Calsonic one, but it was one of the very first cars that went round, and it's down the leaderboard now. So I was going to use an R34, and then I remembered this existed, so I figured we'd get a nice story out of it, we can showcase it, and we can also see how the Skylines get along. Front-engined, rear-wheel drive, 712 horsepower, 1,200 kilos, more power than the Viper, heavier than the Viper, which isn't usually something you say about Vipers. Yeah, should be interesting to see. This car is going to get 6 laps around the Motorsports land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Mitsubishi GTO LM Edition, set a time of 27.223. The Unisia Jecs unlikely to beat that. The Tizen Viper, 27.999. That currently sits in 9th place, fittingly. Quickest GT500 car we've had besides that, the NSX 28.588, and that R33 Jecs sits at a 29.02, I believe. So that is sort of the benchmarks for where this wants to be aiming. It is worth pointing out, because of the GT2 Plus mod, the JGTC, I've said that far too many times in this episode, GT500 Skylines are all converted to rear-wheel drive. I'm using third gear by accident, and I just realised that makes this car so much better to drive. Yeah, they are all converted to rear-wheel drive, as they correctly should be. In the base game, they are all four-wheel drive. So, technically, in the base game, I don't know if they would be the quickest GT500 cars, but they'd certainly have an advantage. Whereas in this mod, it's turned the best GT500 cars to probably the hardest to drive, because I'm starting to realise as I drive this, and obviously thinking about cars like the STB Tizen Viper and the NSX, I think the reason they were as quick as they are is because they are... I really wish people would stop going on and offline on Steam, it's very irritating. I should really look if there's a way to turn that off. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought now. Yeah, the all-wheel drive may have given these an advantage, but the NSX and the Viper were as quick as they were because they are naturally aspirated. Now, I often complain when we're driving cars around here that don't have turbos, because you need to go high up in the rev range for consistent power. And that is true. In a road car, you definitely want a turbo for this track. But if you're in a race car, I'd rather it just be sort of drivable, which turbo ones often aren't, particularly. 28.888, that's a good time. Final lap with this sort of R34, R33 hybrid. Yeah, this is tricky to drive. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination. It's just more out of this section. It's just, there's no... Compared to that Viper, you know, that had traction all around the lap. This does not have the traction that Viper had, not even close. A bit disappointing for the Skyline, to be honest. I thought the R34... Well, I say R34. R33, R34. I thought this would be a bit quicker now, like significantly quicker than the R33 Jecs, but it isn't really. I mean, it's quicker than the Supra, the quickest Supra we've had as well, the 96 Castrol. But the 99 cars could come back with that one. I think there'll be sort of swings between the Supras and the Skylines. But the NSXs, I mean, even the NSX that we used before, this is only slightly quicker than, and that was, again, a very early car to run. So, yeah, not great. Interestingly, though, it does break up the GTO trifecta we've got, which is interesting. A 28.888. We'll put this into 34th place. As I said, goes with a bunch of Mitsubishi GTOs, but that's not really that important to this. It is quicker than the Castrol Supra GT, quicker than the Castrol NSX, quicker than that Zexel Skyline we had, but the NSX is 0.3 up the road, and that Taizan Viper is almost a second quicker than this. So, yeah, I mean, it's beaten by a GT300 RX-7. So, it's just too much power for its own good. They're not great cars. We've seen before, the GT300 cars have a big opportunity to beat the higher up GT500 cars just because they don't make as much power, and that does make them more controllable. And that's something we definitely seem to be seeing, so interesting to know. Anyways, that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time on when I'll be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.